Well, it is day 25 of the UAW strike against Detroit's big three automakers, and the loss of production is breaking records. Economic losses have totaled more than $5 billion, according to new data released today.
That is $1 billion more than the GM strike caused back in 2019. Today's report comes after the union decided against expanding the strike on Friday.
Andres Gutierrez has the very latest tonight from outside the UAW headquarters on Jefferson Avenue on the city's east side, with more on what we can expect in the coming days.
So while the UAW president Shawn Fain paid a visit to striking members in Chicago over the weekend, bargaining teams were huddled up in here trying to broker a tentative agreement. On Friday, GM made a major concession at the last minute, and today we're learning more about their latest offer. In their sixth offer, General Motors is offering a 20% pay raise over the course of the contract. Half of that will hit workers' bank accounts in year one. By the end of the contract, GM says almost all of its UAW workers will make about $82,000 a year. GM is also willing to reinstate the cost of living allowance for team members at max wages starting in year two. These details come after the automaker agreed on Friday to include its battery plant workers in the union's national labor agreement.
Well, I think it really sets a precedent, and the UAW is going to go to the others and say, we won't agree to a tentative agreement with you if you don't do the same.
Labor expert and Wayne State professor Merrick Masters believes if both sides can close the gaps over wages and retiree health care, it would mark significant progress in week 4 of the strike.
Even though it's not a majority of their membership that's out on strike, eventually they're going to have to get to the point where they force the kinds of concessions that they think the companies can make, and they can get this thing settled.
The Anderson Economic Group estimates the first 3 weeks of the stand-up strike have cost the industry $5.5 billion. Those losses so far include $579 million in lost wages. The Detroit Three have lost more than $2.6 billion. Suppliers hit hard once again are out $1.6 billion, and it has cost dealers and customers over $1 billion. And while the big three were spared a strike expansion last week, they may not be this week.
They're going to say, we're going to be just as tough this week as we were last week. We're taking it by week, day by day, and the progress isn't being made, then we're going to call the shots.
Now, across the river, the Canadian Auto Workers Union says GM is resisting a number of key elements that were in the deal workers secured with Ford last month. If a tentative agreement with GM isn't reached by 11:59 tonight, more than 4,000 workers there will go on strike. Reporting on Detroit's east side, Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Detroit.